What's up all you Clashers, this is Kaz and welcome to Kaz Gaming. Alright, so in this video I'd like to talk about some lost battlefields. Over the time that I have been doing lost battlefields since it came out, um, I've learned quite a bit from it. I've got some tips and tricks I'd like to share with you guys, and hopefully this information can help you guys reach the next level. Maybe you're just shy of hitting the 600 mark or just shy of hitting the 1,000 mark. I'd like to try and just give you guys some information of share what I know about it and how I go about doing my lost battlefields, and maybe I can help you guys out. So I'm consistently hitting the 1,000 mark, and I'd like to share with you guys on exactly how I do that. Alright, so we'll probably start off with some basic information, some normal strategy and how to go about this thing. And then I'll get into a little greater detail. I'll show you my teams that I use and then some of the other little tricks that you should be aware of, and information like that that might give you an edge against some other players. Alright, so this is the sixth day for my lost battlefields. So we'll hop right in here. And one of the very first things you want to do on a day like this is to actually refresh the screen right away. The opponents that you see here are actually from yesterday. So what you want to do is hit this right away, and you see now that the screen is refreshed, I now have players with much higher hit points, not higher hit points, excuse me, much higher points that I can choose from. So that brings up another little tip there for you. You should, as you can see here, it's 23:24, so in about half an hour the day will be done. And that is exactly what you want to do. You want to wait till the end of the day to do these, because then you have more opponents to choose from that have higher points than you do at this same time. So you could be possibly hitting guys that have more points, so your points that you gain will be higher, and you have a chance of actually hitting weaker opponents. Now, what you won't see is what you actually should do on day one. Now, on day one, you want to do exactly the opposite of what I just told you. So when day one rolls around and you've already collected your rank for the last week, your reward for the last week, on day number one, you don't want to refresh that screen. You want to fight guys that have 1,000 or as much hit points, there I go again, as much points as possible. Because though your week has reset, their week has not. So you want to attack actually at the beginning of the day on the first day. And then you'll be attacking guys with much higher points than you, because you'll start at 0 and they'll still be at 900 or 1,000. And then you're going to get maximum points for the win if you do win. It's something like 65 points. So you can start your week off at around 250 to 300 points on day one if you do that. Okay? So some of the other basic things let's go over. Well, basically when you look at a team, and here's my team, and even me at how much might I have and how much guys I have, you can tell that I have 2 strong teams and 1 weak team. And this is what you're mostly going to run into. You're going to see guys that have 2 strong teams. So here's strong team number 1. This is what I run. This is strong team number 2. And actually my teams are a little unorthodox, I'll explain that. And this will be the weak team. And of course, you guys know it's best 2 out of 3, right? So some guys run their 2 strong teams and then a weak team, or some guys run strong team, weak team, strong team. And I'm just trying to give you guys what is most likely to happen. And what I mostly see people do is actually run strong team, strong team. I've seen other people do other things, weak and then strong, strong, or strong, weak, strong. But I'm trying to help you guys out with the majority of what I see. And I can tell you that what I see usually is strong, strong. They will put the 2 strong teams in front, and then they don't even care about the weak team in the back. So if you really want to mix it up, you can do a strong team, weak team, strong team, and try and, you know, offset that by hitting somebody else's weak team. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, so I mentioned my team is a little bit unorthodox, and this is why. I've noticed that the team makeups, let's go over that real quick. The team makeups really tend to be geared around one particular hero. And those 2 heroes are Skull Knight and Ares. So basically, the strong teams will consist of a Skull Knight team and an Ares team. So let's hop in and do a couple of these, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is my lineup right here. So I'll always go for the strongest guy first, just to try to see if I can take him out. Now the picture you see of the hero there is not necessarily the hero that is on the first team. But I can tell you from experience that it's about 90% correct. So if I pick on Joe Joy right there, who's got a Skull Knight at 970, I'd have to say about 90% of the time that very first team we're going to face is going to have a Skull Knight. So I'm going to go after this team right here, and he's got a Maltanica. So Maltanica is not really one of the heroes you see all the time, so it's actually going to be a little tricky for me to guess what is the second team, right? So if we go by what I said earlier, everybody runs a Skull Knight team and then an Ares team. So Joy here probably has his Skull Knight team running first, with his Ares team running second. So just to show you guys that, let's go ahead and actually fight Joy. Alright, and I always put my Ares team up against another Ares team, and I always put my Michael team up against a Skull Knight team. Alright, so let's just check that team makeup and see if I'm correct on that. Alright, so there you go. There is no Ares in that team. You see he's using Valentina to try and to anticipate that he's going to attack an Ares. And there you go. Second team has an Ares, and my Ares team is versing that Ares team. Alright. Okay, so that was a good win for me. So that's what you're mostly going to see. And you don't want to have to worry about this refresh button right here. Unless you start seeing the the amount of points come way down. So we got James up next. So he's got a Skull Knight there. So more than likely, excuse me, more than likely what we're going to see is the Skull Knight team followed by the Ares team. And you should also start to see some of the exact same supporting heroes for those two teams. Okay, so let me show you that. Alright. So I use almost the same supporting heroes as well. Some of those heroes are Dread Drake. So normally an Ares team will have a Dread Drake in there. Or a Skull Knight team will most likely have a Valentina. As you can see, I don't use a Valentina because only a Valentina with a 505 Revitalize is actually useful in this. Okay, so let's check that out. And we're just looking at the team makeup of the opponents. I'll go into greater detail of my team when this is done. Okay, so there you go. There, it stayed true. He's got a Valentina with his Skull Knight team. And we're able to pull that off. Team 2 coming up. There you go. The Ares team. He didn't have a Dread Drake, but you can see that he did have an Ares. So there you go. It's Skull Knight team and Ares team. Now you're going to see all kinds of makeups, and I'm just trying to show you guys what the most likely is, right? You want to go by percentage wise. So let's look at this one now. We got 1,000 points here, so it went up again from 980 to 1,000, so I don't have to hit the refresh button. I can go hit someone who has 1,000 points already. Infinite Chaos and Tedirium. So Golem is a tough call of who he's going to be paired with. I would say more than likely that's going to be the Skull Knight team paired with Golem, because that's what I do. The Harpy is definitely tough to call. I've seen her with a bunch of different teams, so that one's going to be kind of tough too. So I would go with I would definitely go with this, and then it's probably going to be a Skull Knight team. So this is what I would run. Anticipate that the Golem is with the Skull Knight. And looks like I was wrong with that. He's got a bunch of snipers on that team. We're just going to eat that alive. So it's best guess on what team is next. And it's a Skull Knight team. But it's a Skull Knight team with no Valentina. We're going to chop right through that, no problem also. Okay, so we're doing well. We almost hit our 1,000 mark. So we're still facing somebody with 1,000 points. No problem. I will not hit the refresh again. And we got a Dread Drake up next. So more than likely this will be an Ares team paired with Dread Drake, which is something that I do as well. And I always go 2 strong teams. So let's see that. And there you go. He's got an Ares with his Dread Drake. Okay, then, and he actually went weak team next. There's no way that that's a strong team, right? And we just plow right through that. And there you go, we hit the 1,000 for this week. Actually a little early. Doing well. Ooh, a Demon Gorgon. I have actually not faced the Demon Gorgon that often in this thing. I couldn't even tell you who they would pair with. I'm just gonna attack it just to attack it. I've already hit the 1,000, so I really don't care where my points go from here. Hitting the 1,000 is not a problem. 1,500 is whole nother ball game. I don't really concern myself with getting that much higher than 1,000 points. So let's try... Yeah, let's try the Skull Knight team, or my Ares Skull Knight combination team there, and see if we can't beat this guy. Michael Drake. There you go, we hit him right away. There you go, and we took him out. Sweet. Oh, and it's the Ares team though up next, so we might have trouble with that. Nope, we were able to drop Ares before he could do his proc. Alright, so we got all 5 wins from that. Okay, so there you go guys. Some of the basic things that you're going to run into, and some of the basic information that you can use to help you get a little bit of an edge. You know what to look for when you're facing some of these guys. Right, so here you see Courierne. Anyway, the far left, Valentina. So more than likely, if you were to face this Valentina, it would probably be on a Skull Knight team. Okay?
Alright guys, so I'm actually going to end the video right there. There was just too much information to go over to try and fit it in like a 15-minute or 20-minute video. So I'm going to end up making a part 2 to this, so stay tuned for that. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit that like button if you liked it, and subscribe. Right on, this is Kaz, signing out.
I'm running away.